The World Economic Forum monster lays out its 3 goals for the beginning of the 70th week of Daniel. The World Economic Forum's annual meetup kicks off this week in Davos. 2,658 of the world's decision makers, politicians, corporate giants, philanthropists, and all manners of monsters gather to plan how to take over the world, protected by thousands of police officers and 5,000 Swiss soldiers. What are they expecting, huh? The elite of the world will feast and party throughout the week as they shape the global agenda for the coming year. Needless to say, your opinion and my opinion is not welcome. The 5,000 Swiss soldiers' message is, stay out. So are we supposed to pray for monsters? Well, of course we are. We're to pray that they repent. We're to pray that they find Jesus, because they're not the real monsters. The real monsters are the ones behind the scenes calling the shots. And prayer is probably our best defense against the agenda that these guys and gals have planned. But before we begin, shout outs to Fisherman and Jason Lawrence for providing us with some research, at least the research that can be obtained on their secret meeting. And this year, they laid out 3 main goals, 3 goals for 2023. And since this fall could potentially be the year the 70th week of Daniel begins, these could be very important goals, the goals to kick off the tribulation. Now, in order to get into this conference, this secretive conference, you have got to be part of their club. And in order to be part of their club, you must be a very important person and rich. In dollars, the small fish pay $70,000, and the big fish pay $700,000 or more. Their biggest concern is what they term a polycrisis. It's a new term they coined, meaning a bunch of crises going on at the same time. Now, a couple months ago, this channel coined a similar term, multi-crisis, to describe the same thing. Exactly, by the way, what Jesus described in Matthew 24, 4-8 as the beginning of the birth pangs. A bunch of crises happening all at the same time. Looks like we beat them to the punch, and Jesus beat them to the punch on the idea by about 2,000 years. But polycrisis, multi-crisis, tomato, it's all the same. Now, the first of their 3 main goals are ways of handling their polycrisis. Wait a minute, did I say their polycrisis? As if it's their fault? As if they're causing these things? Surely, I didn't mean that. Well, here are the main items up for discussion according to the WEF's website. See if you can notice a pattern in all this. Addressing the current energy and food crisis in context of a new world system. Addressing the current high inflation, low growth, and high debt economy in the context of a new world system. Addressing technology in the context of a new world system. Addressing the current geopolitical risks in the context of a new world system. Seems like they're looking to create a new world system. Or maybe a new world order of some type, doesn't it? It seems, though, that term, New World System, is their catch-all solution for all the problems of their polycrisis. Now, none of this is new. It's just lipstick on a pig of old solutions they've been trying to force down our throats for some time. A New World System for energy is the Green New Deal. New World System for international cooperation is some form of UN-based global governance. A New World System for technology is some form of artificial intelligence control. They want to be in charge of it. And a New World System for investment and finance and economy is digital currency. None of that is new. What is new is the term world system, forcing these things, climate, governance, technology, and geopolitics, on the world using a new system. What do they have in mind? System implies online, digital, some kind of digital control of these things. We're going to see. I'm not quite sure, but it implies that. But what is also interesting to notice is what they didn't say. New World Order, New Normal, Great Reset, or Build Back Better. These terms weren't found anywhere in their documents. Looks like they realize those terms are tainted by their totalitarian schemes. Looks like the term New World System triggers less fear, seems kinder, and gentler. They are saying the same thing, just using a different term. Besides a New World System, they're also looking at a world crackdown on free speech. Look at this statement they made about climate change. It is very revealing. We must name the real antagonists. Irresponsible politicians, bot scientists, and some companies failing to live up to the needs of the transition to net zero. We need to also stop pretending that there is a debate over the facts of climate change. When a news organization or other media outlet presents the issue as being the subject of a debate, even when there is no actual debate or disagreement among our experts on the matter. The author pretends to be talking about climate change, but his points about calling out people and shutting down debate applies across the board to all their issues. So this year, expect just that. A calling out of villains, maybe someone like Nelson Walters, in each of these areas, and a shaming of alternative viewpoints and censorship. I'm sorry. Let's use their term, countering misinformation. In an article by the WEF, they detail challenges facing the online community in their efforts to tackle child sexual abuse, exploitation, terrorism, suicide, and self-harm, hate speech, and misinformation. Did you notice something? How hate speech and misinformation are thrown in there with actual crimes and actual problems? To quote Sesame Street, one of these things is not like the other. And honestly, these people do not really care about the actual crimes at all. Businesses that exploit children, are they really against them? Border crises that allow sex traffickers into various countries, are they against those things? In some of the countries that are members of this group, they fund terrorism. Are they against that? And media outlets that spit out misinformation at 50 words a minute, are they against them? No, they only really care about control of you and my speech. And that means controlling the internet, more specifically controlling what you are allowed to say and hear. That's point 2, censorship. It's going to ramp way up. Third point will be a push for more direct action. This might be the scariest point of all. This is the year that they are calling for tangible solutions. The propaganda stage of the Great Reset appears to be over, and now we transition into the next stage toward direct enforcement of the new world systems. How will all this play out? Well, since you and I didn't pay $700,000 to get in, we aren't going to know the specifics. But based on their pre-conference propaganda, we see these 3 main themes: a new system, reforming the climate, politics, finance, technology, a system of control. 2, controlling the narrative, creating villains, and limiting public debate through censorship. 3, tangible solutions, taking more direct action via enforcement. That makes this the year to take action. Imagine if it's the year the 70th week begins. So my personal expectation is that this year they're going to roll out the plans that they've been developing for decades. So hang on to your hats. And just like the pandemic launched a bunch of the World Economic Forum agenda, the other aspects of the polycrisis, as they call it, will launch the rest of their agenda. So expect international crises followed by totalitarian solutions. Click right here to watch the video about the multi-crisis, as we call it, and what we see happening, and their pre-planned solutions. Till then, this is Nelson, and I'll see you there.